The Facebook notification pinged on my phone at 9:47 a.m. on a Monday morning. I was sitting at my desk at Henderson Manufacturing, staring at spreadsheets that blurred together after 3 hours of reconciling accounts. The distraction was welcome. I unlocked my phone and saw a message from someone named Michelle Parker. The preview read, "We missed you at the reunion. Hope everything's okay with your wife." My first thought was confusion. I hadn't gone to any reunion. My own 20th high school reunion wasn't for another year. I opened the message. "Hi, Nathan. I'm so sorry we didn't get to meet you at the Westfield reunion 3 weeks ago. Jessica told us you couldn't make it because of work, but we were all hoping to meet the man who finally captured Jessica Foster's heart. She looked absolutely radiant that night. Hope you can make it to the next one. Sending the photo album link so you can see what you missed." My hands went cold. Westfield was Jessica's high school in Pennsylvania, about 4 hours away. 3 weeks ago, she'd been at her pharmaceutical sales conference. A regional meeting, she'd said. 3 days in Pennsylvania, Friday through Sunday. But this message mentioned a reunion. Her reunion. I clicked the photo album link with fingers that had started to tremble. The page loaded slowly, revealing the header. Westfield High School Class of 2005, 20-year reunion. Below it, 243 photos arranged in a grid. I saw Jessica in the third photo. She was wearing a deep blue dress I'd never seen before, something elegant and form-fitting that must have cost several $100s. Her hair was styled in loose waves, professional makeup highlighting features I saw every morning, but somehow looked different here. She was smiling at the camera, radiant in a way I hadn't seen in months. But it wasn't Jessica that made my breath catch. It was the man standing next to her, his arm draped casually around her waist. I scrolled down. More photos. The same man appeared again and again, Jessica laughing at something he said. The two of them at a dinner table, heads close together. Dancing, his hands on her lower back. A group shot where everyone else was facing the camera, but Jessica was looking up at him. My office felt too small. The walls pressed in as I continued scrolling, my pulse hammering in my ears. Photo after photo after photo. There was one that made me stop breathing entirely. Jessica and this man, slow dancing. Not the arm's-length polite dancing of acquaintances. Her head was resting on his shoulder. His face was pressed into her hair. Both of them had their eyes closed, swaying together like they were the only two people in the room. The timestamp read 11:43 p.m. I zoomed in on the man's face, studying him with the same methodical attention I gave to my spreadsheets. Mid to late 30s, tall, dark-haired with early silver at the temples, good-looking in that effortless way some men had. Athletic build, expensive watch. The kind of man who'd been popular in high school and never stopped being popular. I scrolled to the photo comments. "Brad and Jess, just like old times," wrote someone named Amanda Pina. "Oh, you two are so cute together," from a Sarah Mitchell. "The king and queen reunited. Best night ever," posted by someone named Tom Sanders. Brad. The name struck a chord in my memory. Jessica had mentioned a Brad once, early in our relationship. Her high school boyfriend, I think. She'd said something dismissive about young love and moved on before I could ask questions. I looked at my watch. 10:15 a.m. Jessica would be between client meetings right now, probably in her car, returning calls and updating her CRM. I could call her. Ask her about this reunion she'd apparently attended instead of her pharmaceutical conference. But something stopped me, some instinct that told me to wait, to look deeper, to gather information before I confronted her with questions she could deflect or explain away. I returned to the photos. The album was organized chronologically, starting with early evening arrivals. Jessica appeared at 7:23 p.m., walking into what looked like a hotel ballroom. The caption identified the location: Riverside Grand Hotel, Greenfield, Pennsylvania. I opened a new tab and pulled up our joint credit card account. I knew our passwords, handled all our finances. It was part of my job as an accountant, keeping our books balanced and our investments on track. 3 weeks ago, Friday, September 6th through Sunday, September 8th. There it was, Riverside Grand Hotel. 2 nights, $387.46. But there was no conference registration fee. No charges to the pharmaceutical convention center Jessica had mentioned. Just the hotel, a few restaurant charges, and one that caught my eye. Bella Rosa Boutique, $342.18 on Friday afternoon. The blue dress. She'd bought it the day of the reunion. I went back to the photos. The dinner portion of the evening looked formal, elegant. Round tables with white tablecloths, centerpieces, a dance floor. Jessica was seated at a table with Brad and 6 others. In every single photo from dinner, they were next to each other, talking, laughing, his arm resting on the back of her chair. Then came the after-party photos. The captions indicated these were taken in the hotel bar and lobby. The lighting was dimmer, more intimate. Drinks in hand, loosened ties, kicked off heels. Jessica and Brad at the bar. Jessica and Brad on a couch in the lobby. Jessica and Brad and 2 other couples, but somehow even in a group, they were their own world. The timestamps progressed. 11:43 p.m., 12:17 a.m., 1:35 a.m., 2:19 a.m., and then the last photo in the album, 2:47 a.m. Jessica and Brad standing by the elevator bay. His arm was around her shoulders. She was leaning into him. Both of them were smiling, looking at each other rather than at the camera. The photo was slightly blurry, taken by someone who was probably pretty intoxicated at that point. The caption, written by Tom Sanders, "Last 2 standing." Brad and Jess closing down the place like champs. Some things never change, LOL. I stared at that photo for 10 minutes straight. Just stared, my mind trying to process what my eyes were seeing and what that meant. The formal event had ended at 11 p.m., according to the event description. The after-party went until 3 a.m., and at 2:47 a.m., my wife was at the elevators with her ex-boyfriend, both of them looking at each other like... I closed my eyes, opened them. The photo was still there. I pulled up Google Maps. Greenfield, Pennsylvania, to our home in Columbus, Ohio. 4 hours and 12 minutes. Jessica had texted me on Sunday at 3:47 p.m. saying she was leaving the conference and would be home by 8 p.m. She'd arrived at 8:34 p.m., apologizing for traffic. I went back to the credit card statement. Sunday morning, 8:47 a.m., Riverside Grand Hotel Restaurant. $47.83. She'd had breakfast at the hotel Sunday morning, hours after the 2:47 a.m. photo. I pulled up Jessica's Instagram. She'd been uncharacteristically quiet that weekend. One post on Friday afternoon, a generic shot of a hotel lobby with the caption, "Conference time. See you Monday, babe," with a heart emoji. Nothing on Saturday, nothing on Sunday morning. But now that I knew where to look, I found her tagged in dozens of photos from the reunion. She hadn't posted them herself, but other attendees had tagged her throughout the night. My phone buzzed. A text from Jessica. Lunch meeting running late? Don't wait up for me tonight. Might be 7 or 8 before I'm home. Love you. I stared at the text. She added love you to almost every message. It was her habit, something I'd always found endearing. Now it felt like a knife. I didn't respond. Instead, I went back to the photos and started taking screenshots. Every single one that showed Jessica and Brad together. I organized them in a folder on my desktop, labeled with dates and timestamps. Then I looked up Michelle Parker on Facebook. She'd been the one to send me the message. Her profile listed her as Westfield High School Reunion Committee Chair. I sent her a private message. Hi Michelle, thanks for the message and the photo link. I'm actually trying to piece together the timeline of events that night. Jessica and I got our wires crossed about the weekend, and I want to make sure I have the details right. Can you tell me more about the event? What time things started and ended? I saw some late-night photos, and I'm just curious about the venue. She responded within 10 minutes. Oh, sure. The formal dinner was 7 to 11 p.m. in the Grand Ballroom. Then we had the after party in the hotel bar until they kicked us out at 3 a.m. LOL. It was such a great night. Brad Langley really went above and beyond with the planning. He and Jessica were so sweet together all night, reminded everyone of high school. I think half the class was shipping them by the end of the night, haha. Are you two doing okay? Jessica seemed like she was having the time of her life. I read the message 3 times. Brad and Jessica were so sweet together all night. I think half the class was shipping them by the end of the night. Jessica seemed like she was having the time of her life. I replied, we're great, thanks. Quick question. Did most people stay at the hotel? I'm trying to remember what Jessica said about accommodations. Michelle. Oh yeah, we had a room block. Most out-of-towners stayed over. Even Brad got a room there to make it easier, even though he lives like 20 minutes away. Smart thinking since he was helping coordinate and was there until the very end. I think I left around 2, but he and Jessica and a few others were still going strong. Brad lived 20 minutes away but got a hotel room. Jessica stayed until at least 2:47 a.m. with him. She had breakfast at the hotel at 8:47 a.m. I pushed back from my desk and walked to the bathroom. Locked myself in a stall and pressed my palms against my eyes until I saw stars. I'd been married to Jessica for 11 years. We'd met in college, dated for 3 years, got engaged at 25. We'd built a life together, a house in a good neighborhood, 2 cars, a retirement plan. We'd talked about kids, decided to wait until our careers were more established. We'd just started trying this year, and 3 weeks ago she'd gone to her high school reunion and spent the night with her ex-boyfriend while I sat at home watching Netflix, waiting for her to call and tell me about her boring pharmaceutical conference. I pulled out my phone and Googled Brad Langley, Greenfield, Pennsylvania. LinkedIn profile, top result. Brad Langley, Regional Sales Director at TechCore Solutions. Westfield High School, Penn State University. Currently living in Greenfield, Pennsylvania. His profile picture showed the same man from the reunion photos, professional but with that easy confidence that came from never having been told no. I scrolled down. His recent posts were typical corporate inspiration garbage. Motivation quotes. Team-building photos. But there was one from 2 weeks ago that made my blood run cold. Sometimes life gives you a second chance at something you thought you'd lost forever. Grateful for reconnections and new beginnings. 47 likes. 12 comments, mostly variations of "so happy for you" and "you deserve this." And one comment from Amanda Pina, the woman who'd posted "Brad and Jess just like old times" on the reunion photos. "We all saw this coming at the reunion. You two are meant to be." Question mark. Question mark. I took a screenshot. When I got back to my desk, there was an email from Tom Sanders. I'd sent him a Facebook message during my bathroom break, introducing myself as Jessica's husband and asking about the reunion. His response, "Hey Nathan." "Yeah, great event. Jessica's awesome. She really lit up the room. She and Brad were pretty much inseparable the whole night. I left around 2:30. They were heading toward the elevators together. They looked really happy. I actually saw them having breakfast together Sunday morning when I was checking out, just the two of them. Seemed like they had a lot to catch up on. Tell Jess I said hi. Just the two of them at breakfast." I spent the rest of the day working mechanically, running numbers that no longer seemed to matter. Around 3 p.m., I called my friend Derek, a divorce attorney I'd known since college. "Derek, hypothetical question. If someone wanted to prove infidelity in a divorce, what kind of evidence would they need?" Derek was quiet for a moment. "Nathan, this wouldn't happen to be about you and Jessica, would it?" "Hypothetically," he sighed. "Photographs are good. Witness testimony is better. Electronic records, hotel key card logs, credit card statements, phone records. The more documentation, the better. Ohio is a no-fault divorce state, but proven infidelity can still affect asset division and eliminate alimony claims." "Why are you asking me this?" "Just curious. Thanks, Derek." "Nathan, if you need to talk." I hung up. "Hotel keycard logs. That was interesting. Every time someone used a keycard, it left a digital record. Room entry times, which card was used, which doors were opened. I pulled up the Riverside Grand Hotel website and called the main number. "Thank you for calling Riverside Grand. This is Amanda speaking. How may I help you?" "Hi, Amanda. I'm calling about obtaining keycard access logs for a recent stay. My wife stayed there 3 weeks ago and I need the records for legal purposes." "I'm sorry, sir, but we can't release that information without a court order or subpoena. Guest privacy is protected." "I understand. What would be the process for obtaining those records through legal channels?" "You would need to have your attorney file a formal discovery request through the court system. We comply with all legal orders." "Thank you." I called Derek back. "I need you to prepare paperwork for a divorce. I'll be filing Monday morning. And I need you to file a discovery request for hotel keycard access logs from Riverside Grand Hotel in Greenfield, Pennsylvania, for the nights of September 6th and 7th. Derek was quiet for a long moment. "Jesus, Nathan, I'm sorry. Come by the office tomorrow. We'll start the paperwork." Jessica came home at 8:17 p.m. I was sitting in the living room with my laptop, watching her walk through the door with her sample case and designer purse, smiling her usual smile. "Hey, babe. Sorry I'm so late. The doctor I was meeting with was running behind schedule, you know how it is. How was your day?" I looked at her. Really looked at her. She was still beautiful, still the woman I'd fallen in love with in a college economics class. But now I saw something else too. The ease with which she lied. The practiced way she created her cover story. "Day was fine," I said. "How's work going?" "Oh, you know." "Busy, busy. I'm exhausted." She kicked off her heels and collapsed on the couch next to me. "What are you working on?" Just reviewing some accounts. I closed my laptop. How was that conference a few weeks ago? The one in Pennsylvania? I watched her face carefully. There was the briefest hesitation, a micro-expression of surprise quickly masked. Oh, that? It was fine. Boring, honestly. Just the usual sessions and networking. Learn anything useful? Not really. Same information packaged differently. You know how these things are. She stood up. I'm going to take a shower. Want to order Thai food? Sure. I waited until I heard the shower running. Then I pulled up the reunion photos again and selected 10 of the most damning ones. Jessica and Brad slow dancing. The elevator photo at 2:47 a.m. The breakfast photo. Sunday morning that Sarah Mitchell had posted with the caption, "Ran into these two lovebirds at breakfast. So cute." I texted them to myself, then deleted the text from Jessica's phone. I wanted copies she couldn't claim came from my snooping. Over the next 3 days, I conducted my investigation with the same methodical attention I gave to my accounting work. I spoke to 4 more people who'd attended the reunion. Every single one mentioned how close Jessica and Brad had been, how they'd danced together most of the night, how they'd been adorable together. Sarah Mitchell told me, "Oh, honey, they were basically joined at the hip all night." It was so romantic, like watching a movie. Young love rekindled, you know? They were so cute together at breakfast, too. I'm sorry, are you guys having problems? I just assumed since she was there with Brad all night that you two had separated or something. I saved every conversation, every screenshot, every witness statement. On Thursday evening, I met with Derek and gave him everything I'd compiled. He spread it across his desk, reviewing the photos and statements with professional detachment. This is pretty damning, Nathan. Public event, 200 witnesses, professional photographers. She and this Brad guy documented their entire night together. The breakfast photo is particularly bad. That's hours after the event ended, just the two of them. And the 2:47 a.m. elevator photo. He shook his head. Most affairs try to stay hidden. This one was displayed for everyone to see. Can you get the hotel records? With this evidence? Absolutely. Judge will grant the discovery request, no question. Key card logs will show exactly which rooms they accessed and when. He looked up at me. Nathan, are you sure you want to go down this road? Once you file, there's no going back. I'm sure. Okay, I'll have the papers ready by Monday morning. In the meantime, I strongly suggest you don't confront her. Don't give her a chance to create explanations or destroy evidence. We hit her with everything at once, but I couldn't wait. Friday evening, when Jessica came home from work, I was ready. She walked in at 6:30, her usual time. Hey, babe. How was your day? Good. Hey, can we talk for a minute? Sure. She set down her purse and joined me on the couch. What's up? I wanted to ask you about your trip to Pennsylvania 3 weeks ago. The pharmaceutical conference. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her shoulders tense slightly. What about it? How are the conference sessions? What were the main topics? New drug protocols mostly, marketing strategies for the Q4 rollout. Pretty standard stuff. Why? What hotel did the conference use? The Riverside Grand. Nice place. And you stayed there the whole weekend? Yes, Friday and Saturday night. I told you this already, Nathan. Why are you asking? I opened my laptop, which I'd positioned on the coffee table, screen facing away from her. That's funny, because I couldn't find any record of a pharmaceutical conference at that hotel those dates. She laughed, but it sounded forced. Well, it was a regional thing, might not have been heavily promoted online. I turned the laptop toward her. On the screen was the first photo, Jessica and Brad at the reunion dinner table, his arm around the back of her chair, both of them laughing. The color drained from her face. "This looks like more than a conference," I said quietly. "Nathan, let me show you more." I clicked to the next photo. Jessica and Brad slow dancing, her head on his shoulder. Click. The group photo where she was looking up at him instead of at the camera. Click. The bar photo at 1:35 a.m. Click. The elevator photo at 2:47 a.m. "It was just a reunion," she said quickly. "My high school reunion." I went to that, yes, but it wasn't. "Nothing happened, Nathan. It was just old friends catching up." "Really?" I clicked to the breakfast photo. This was taken at 8:47 a.m. Sunday morning. Just you and Brad. Hours after the reunion ended. Caption says, "These two lovebirds." Interesting description for old friends catching up. People were just joking around. You're taking this out of context. I pulled up the witness statements on my phone. Tom Sanders says he saw you and Brad leaving together toward the elevators at 2:30 a.m. Sarah Mitchell saw you having breakfast together, just the two of you, and assumed we'd separated because of how close you two were all night. I looked at her. Were all 200 people at this reunion just joking around? You've been investigating me? Her voice rose. Going through my social media. Talking to my high school friends. That's insane, Nathan. You know what's insane? Finding out from a Facebook message from the reunion coordinator that my wife attended her high school reunion instead of the pharmaceutical conference she told me about. That's insane. 243 photos of you and your ex-boyfriend looking like a couple? That's insane. Brad is just an old friend. We danced a few times, so what? Everyone was dancing with everyone. It was a fun night, that's all. I clicked to the next photo. Michelle Parker had posted it with the caption, "Brad and Jessica, prom king and queen reunited. Love is real." It showed them slow dancing again, but this time the intimacy was unmistakable. Her eyes were closed. His lips were pressed against her forehead. "This doesn't look like just dancing," I said. Jessica stood up, pacing. "Okay, fine. Brad and I were close in high school. Seeing him again brought back memories. We danced, we talked, we reminisced about old times. But that's it. Nothing happened. Then why did you lie about it? Why tell me you were at a pharmaceutical conference?" "Because I knew you'd react like this. Getting jealous and possessive over an innocent reunion with old friends." "Where was this taken?" I pointed to the elevator photo. "In the hotel lobby." "At 2:47 in the morning." "Yes." "Why were you still there at 2:47 in the morning, Jessica?" "The after party went late. I told you. It was just people having fun." "And after this photo was taken? What happened next?" "I went to bed." "In your hotel room?" "Yes." "The hotel room you stayed in Friday and Saturday night?" "Yes." "The hotel room that cost $387 on our credit card?" "Yes." "What's your point?" I pulled up my phone and showed her Michelle Parker's message. "Michelle told me Brad lives 20 minutes away from this hotel. But he got a room there anyway. She thought it was smart planning since he was helping coordinate the event." I looked at Jessica. "Why would Brad need a hotel room if he lives 20 minutes away?" "I don't know. To make it convenient?" "Convenient for what?" "For the reunion." "For not having to drive home late." At 2:47 a.m., you and Brad were at the elevators together. Tom Sanders saw you leaving the after party together. You had breakfast together the next morning, just the two of you, and Brad had a hotel room 20 minutes from his house. I set down my phone. Do you really think I'm stupid enough not to see what happened? Nothing happened. She was shouting now. We went upstairs, yes, but we just talked. In the hallway. And then I went to my room alone. For hours? You talked in the hallway for hours? Until breakfast time? No, I went to sleep. I don't know what time he went to his room. I wasn't keeping track. You had breakfast with him. I ran into him at the restaurant. It wasn't planned. Sarah Mitchell says you two look like a couple. Lovebirds was her exact word. She was just being dramatic. I stood up and walked to the window, my back to her. I spoke to Derek Henderson this week, my attorney. He's filing divorce papers Monday morning. Silence. Complete, suffocating silence. When I turned around, Jessica was staring at me with her mouth open. You're divorcing me? Over a reunion? Over lying to me about where you were? Over spending an entire night with your ex-boyfriend while telling me you were at a work conference? Over whatever happened in that hotel after 2:47 a.m. that you still won't admit to? I'm telling you nothing happened. Then you won't mind when the court orders the hotel to release the keycard access logs. Her face went white again. What? Keycard logs. Every time you or Brad used your room keys, it created a digital record. Timestamps, which rooms were accessed, which cards were used. Derek's filing for discovery. We'll have complete documentation of everywhere you went that night. You can't do that. That's private. It's not private in a divorce proceeding when infidelity is alleged. The court can order the hotel to release those records. We'll know exactly what time you entered your room, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. We'll know if Brad's keycard accessed your room, or if your keycard accessed his room. I watched her process this. We'll know everything, Jessica. Every single door opened, every single time, documented and time-stamped. She sat down heavily on the couch. Nathan, please. Let me explain. I'm listening. Brad and we were together in high school. First love, you know? When I saw him at the reunion, all those old feelings came back. We danced, we talked about what could have been. And yes, we kissed. In the hallway, after the party. But that's all it was. One kiss, nothing else happened. You kissed him. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. It was a mistake, a moment of weakness. But it didn't mean anything. You kissed your ex-boyfriend in a hotel hallway at 3 a.m. after spending the entire night dancing with him, and then had breakfast with him the next morning. And you think that didn't mean anything? It was just nostalgia. Old feelings. It doesn't change how I feel about you. How long was this kiss? What? How long did you kiss him? 5 seconds? A minute? 5 minutes? She didn't answer. Where did you kiss him? In the hallway, like you said. Or in one of your rooms? Nathan, because when the key card logs come back showing your card accessed his room or his card accessed yours, your story about a kiss in the hallway isn't going to hold up very well. Stop it. Just stop. You're making this into something it wasn't. Then tell me what it was, Jessica. Tell me the truth. All of it. Right now. She was crying now, mascara running down her face. We went to his room. Just to talk, to catch up away from everyone else. And yes, we kissed. More than once, but we didn't sleep together. You went to his room. Yes. At 3 a.m. Around then? Yes. And stayed there until breakfast. No. I left after an hour or so, went to my own room. An hour of kissing, of talking, and some kissing, yes, but mostly talking. And then you ran into him at breakfast by coincidence. Yes, after spending an hour alone in his room at 3 a.m. It sounds worse than it was. It sounds exactly like what it was, Jessica. You went to your high school reunion, spent the entire night with your ex-boyfriend, went to his hotel room at 3 a.m., and then had breakfast with him the next morning, all while telling me you were at a pharmaceutical conference. I picked up my laptop. I have 243 photos documenting your entire night with him. I have statements from 4 different witnesses describing how close you two were. I have credit card records showing no conference registration. I have key card logs incoming that will show exactly how long you were in his room. And I have you, right now, finally admitting you lied to me and went to his room. Please don't do this. Please. We can get counseling. We can work through this. I made a mistake, but I love you. You loved me when you bought that blue dress for the reunion, when you slow danced with him, when you went to his room, when you had breakfast with him. Which part of that showed love for me exactly? It was a moment of weakness. It didn't mean anything. Stop saying that. My voice was louder than I intended. Stop saying it didn't mean anything. You planned this. You bought a new dress. You told me you had a conference. You spent an entire weekend with him. You went to his room in the middle of the night. You had breakfast with him. Those aren't moments of weakness, Jessica. That's a series of choices. Deliberate choices. She was sobbing now, completely breaking down. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Please don't leave me. Please. I felt nothing watching her cry. That scared me more than anything else. 3 weeks ago, seeing her upset would have destroyed me. Now I just felt cold. I'm going to stay at Derek's tonight. You can stay here. By Monday afternoon, you'll be served with divorce papers. Derek suggests you get your own attorney. Nathan, please, is there anything else you want to tell me? Before the key card logs come back and I find out anyway? She shook her head, still crying. Then we're done here. I packed a bag while she sat on the couch sobbing. When I walked past her to leave, she grabbed my arm. I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you. I gently removed her hand. You love me so much you spent a weekend with another man? Got it. I walked out the door and didn't look back. Derek's guest room was comfortable, but I didn't sleep much. I lay awake replaying the confrontation, the photos, the lies. Around 3 a.m., I checked my phone and saw 17 texts from Jessica. Apologies, explanations, promises to change. I didn't respond. Saturday morning, Derek made coffee and sat across from me at his kitchen table. You okay? No. Want to talk about it? Not really. The papers will be ready Monday. I'll have her served at work, clean, and professional. Discovery request for the hotel records goes in simultaneously. Thanks. Nathan, I have to ask, are you sure about this? Sometimes couples work through infidelity, counseling, therapy. She lied to me for 3 weeks, Derek. Came home from a weekend with another man and kissed me hello and told me about her boring conference, made dinner plans, talked about our future, all while knowing exactly what she'd done. I set down my coffee cup. I'm not interested in working through that. Monday morning, Derek filed the papers. Jessica was served at 2:30 p.m. while meeting with a client. She called me 17 times that afternoon. I let them all go to voicemail. The discovery request was filed Tuesday. The hotel's attorneys contacted Derek Wednesday to confirm they would comply with the court order. Records would be available within 10 business days. During those 10 days, Jessica tried everything. She called, texted, emailed. She showed up at my office twice before building security asked her to leave. She contacted my parents, my sister, our mutual friends, telling them I was overreacting to an innocent reunion. But she hadn't counted on social media. The reunion photos were public. Anyone could see them. Our friends could scroll through and see Jessica and Brad dancing, laughing, looking at each other like they were the only people in the world. They could read the comments from classmates shipping them together, calling them lovebirds, saying they were meant to be. My sister called me on Thursday. "Nathan, I saw the photos. I'm so sorry. Thanks." Jessica called Mom trying to say it was innocent, that you're being unreasonable. Did Mom believe her? She did, until I sent her the photos. 47 pictures of Jessica and this Brad guy all over each other. Nobody's buying the innocent reunion story. Jessica's own family was harder to convince. Her mother called me demanding to know why I was destroying the marriage over jealousy. I told her to look at the public photo album and call me back. She did. The next call was very different. "I had no idea," she said quietly. "Jessica told us you were having problems, that you were being controlling and paranoid. She didn't mention—" I saw the photos. I'm sorry, Nathan. 2 weeks after I left, the hotel records arrived. Derek called me into his office and spread them across his desk. "You're not gonna like this. Just tell me." Friday night, 11:43 p.m., Jessica's keycard accessed her room. She stayed there about 40 minutes. Then at 12:27 a.m., her keycard accessed room 847. That's Brad Langley's room. His keycard records show he entered his room at 12:24 a.m. So she went to his room 3 minutes after he got there. Correct. Her card shows she didn't leave his room until 7:15 a.m. Saturday morning. I felt sick. 7 hours. Yes. She went directly back to her own room at 7:17 a.m. Then at 8:39 a.m., her card accessed her room again, probably getting ready for breakfast. Saturday evening is similar. She was in his room from 11:52 p.m. Saturday until 6:23 a.m. Sunday. She spent both nights with him. According to these records, yes. Nearly 7 hours Friday night, over 6 hours Saturday night. Both overnight stays. I stared at the printouts with their timestamps and room numbers. Cold, factual documentation of what I'd already known, but somehow hoped wasn't true. "This ends any argument about innocent reunion," Derek said. "Nobody spends 13 hours overnight in someone's hotel room just talking." The divorce proceedings moved quickly after that. Jessica's attorney tried to argue the keycard records didn't prove anything definitive, but combined with the photos, witness statements, and Jessica's own admission about going to Brad's room, it was overwhelming evidence. Jessica tried one last time to salvage things. She showed up at Derek's house where I was staying, 3 weeks after I'd left. "Nathan, please. I know I screwed up. I know I hurt you. But we can get past this. Therapy, counseling, whatever you need, I'll do anything." "Did you sleep with him?" She hesitated. "It's not that simple." "Yes or no, Jessica? Did you sleep with Brad both nights at the reunion?" We got caught up in old feelings. It was a mistake." "Yes or no?" She closed her eyes. "Yes." "Get out." "Nathan, get out. We have nothing else to discuss. Your attorney can talk to my attorney." She left crying. I closed the door and locked it. The divorce was finalized 4 months later. The evidence of infidelity meant Jessica got nothing beyond her personal belongings and her car. I kept the house, the majority of our retirement accounts, everything we'd built together. No alimony, no spousal support. Ohio might be a no-fault state, but judges still considered conduct when dividing assets, and Jessica's conduct was documented in painful detail. But the legal consequences were just the beginning of Jessica's problems. Brad had reached out to her the day after I left. They started dating officially, trying to make something real out of what had started at the reunion. For the first few weeks, it seemed like it might work. They posted photos together on social media, had dinner with friends, talked about a future together. Then Brad's ex-wife found out about the reunion. She'd been at the reunion too, actually. She'd seen the photos, and when she learned that Brad had spent the entire weekend with Jessica, including overnight stays documented in hotel records, she filed to reopen their divorce settlement. Brad had claimed in his divorce that there was no one else, that he'd been faithful throughout the marriage. The reunion evidence proved otherwise. His ex-wife's attorney was vicious. They used every photo, every witness statement, every keycard log entry. Brad's alimony payments doubled. His custody arrangement changed. And the legal fees devastated his savings. Money problems started putting pressure on Brad and Jessica's relationship almost immediately. Jessica's own career was imploding in parallel. One of her colleagues had been Facebook friends with someone from the reunion. The photos made the rounds at her pharmaceutical company. Her regional manager called her in to discuss why she'd charged a personal trip to the company travel budget. "You submitted an expense report for a pharmaceutical conference in Greenfield, Pennsylvania," her manager said, "but we have no record of any conference there those dates. What we do have is 200 photos of you at your high school reunion, which you documented on social media." Jessica tried to explain, to minimize, but the damage was done. She was placed on probationary status pending an internal investigation. The investigation took 3 months. During that time, Jessica's reputation in the company deteriorated. Colleagues who'd considered her a friend distanced themselves. Clients started requesting different sales representatives. Her numbers dropped. In month 4, Jessica was given a choice: resign or be terminated for misuse of company funds and fraudulent expense reporting. She resigned. Meanwhile, her relationship with Brad was falling apart. The financial pressure, the social judgment from both their families, the constant reminder of how their relationship had started, all of it created a toxicity they couldn't overcome. "I can't do this anymore," Brad told her one night, according to what I heard later from Sarah Mitchell, who'd stayed in touch with both of them. "Every time I look at you, I think about what I gave up. My settlement, my kids' trust, my reputation. And for what? We weren't even that good together." They broke up 6 months after the reunion. 6 months after Jessica had destroyed her marriage, her career, and her reputation for a relationship with a man she'd romanticized in her memory, but barely knew anymore. I didn't celebrate when I heard about the breakup, didn't feel vindicated or satisfied. I just felt tired. I threw myself into work instead. Henderson Manufacturing promoted me to senior accountant 8 months after the divorce. I started handling major client accounts, traveling for site visits, building a reputation beyond the local office. I also started dating again. Nothing serious at first, just relearning how to trust someone. How to build something without constantly wondering when the other shoe would drop. Then I met Emily Walsh at a professional development conference. She was an accountant for a competing firm, sharp and funny, and straightforward in a way that felt refreshing after years of Jessica's careful image management. We dated for 6 months before making it official. She knew my history, I knew hers. We built something based on honesty rather than romance, on trust rather than passion. "I like that you're boring," she told me once, smiling. "I mean that as the highest compliment. You're stable, reliable. You say what you mean. There's no drama or games or surprises. It's wonderful." "Boring is good," I agreed. A year after my divorce was finalized, I was having dinner with my parents when my mom mentioned she'd run into Jessica's mother at the grocery store. "How is she?" I asked, surprising myself with the question. "Not great, apparently. Living in a small apartment, working at a retail pharmacy instead of pharmaceutical sales, still trying to rebuild her reputation." Mom hesitated. "She asked about you. Wanted to know if you were happy." "What did you say?" "I said you were doing very well. New promotion, new relationship, new life." She cried a little. I thought about that conversation later. Thought about Jessica in her small apartment, working a job she was overqualified for, probably struggling to make rent. Thought about Brad dealing with his financial and custody issues. Thought about how one weekend had unraveled so many lives. I couldn't find it in myself to feel sorry for them, because here's what I'd learned. Jessica hadn't destroyed our marriage in one moment of weakness at a reunion. She'd destroyed it through a series of deliberate choices, choosing to attend the reunion instead of being honest about it, choosing to buy the expensive dress and style herself for Brad's attention, choosing to dance with him all night, choosing to go to his room at 3 a.m., choosing to spend 2 nights with him, choosing to have breakfast with him, knowing she'd go home to me the next day. Each choice had been its own betrayal. The reunion was just where they all converged into something undeniable. 2 years after the divorce, I was at Henderson Manufacturing's annual awards dinner when my boss pulled me aside. "Nathan, I wanted to talk to you about the controller position opening up next year. I think you'd be perfect for it." "I appreciate that. I'd be interested." "Good. You've built a solid reputation here. Reliable, trustworthy, professional. In this business, that means everything." That night, driving home to the house I'd kept in the divorce, I thought about reputation, about how you build it slowly, over years, through consistent actions and choices, and how you can destroy it in a single weekend if you're not careful. I thought about Jessica, wherever she was, probably thinking the same thing. When I got home, Emily was making dinner in my kitchen. Our kitchen now, really. She'd moved in 3 months ago. "How was the awards dinner?" she asked. "Good. I might be up for controller next year." "That's wonderful," she kissed me. "I'm proud of you." "Thanks." I set down my keys and loosened my tie. "You know what I realized tonight?" "What?" "The best revenge isn't some dramatic confrontation or public humiliation. It's just living well. Building something real and stable and good while the people who hurt you are stuck dealing with the consequences of their choices." Emily smiled. "That's very zen of you. I'm a boring accountant, remember? We like stability and balance sheets that make sense. And I love you for it." Later that night, scrolling through social media before bed, I saw that Brad Langley had posted something. Against my better judgment, I clicked on it. It was a photo of him alone at a bar, caption reading, "Sometimes the life you think you want isn't worth what you give up to get it." 47 comments, mostly supportive. But I noticed Jessica wasn't among them. Apparently, they didn't even speak anymore. I closed the app and plugged in my phone. Emily was already asleep next to me, breathing softly in the dark. In the morning, we'd have coffee together before heading to our respective offices. Normal, boring, stable. Exactly what I'd wanted all along.